Matthew's community, the early Christian Matthew community, must have been quite troubled that the learned and the wise, the religious leaders, the Pharisees, the scribes, the priests, weren't accepting Jesus. And rather it was mere children, or the blind, the lame, the outcasts, the widows, the poor, the sinners. They were the ones who were experiencing Christ and acknowledging him as Lord. The ones who should have known better didn't know better. And so Matthew's community are probably struggling with this. In the gospel we hear, Jesus reveals himself to mere children. It's not that Jesus is diminishing intelligence or intellect. Quite the opposite. What he's diminishing is pride. You see, the religious leaders, the scribes, the Pharisees, thought they knew better, so they were closed to Christ. They were the experts. They weren't going to be told by some carpenter's son that he was God. They would know who God was when God revealed himself. Who does he think he is? It was pride that stopped them from acknowledging and knowing Christ. It wasn't the fact that they were learned or they were clever, but it just so happened that because they were clever, they thought they knew best. And they were proud. And they were closed to Christ. And we're told in the gospel it is mere children that he reveals himself to, because children are simple. Life when you are a child is relatively simple and not complex. At Sancta Maria Catholic Primary School, where I was chaplain before moving here to St. Pat's Cathedral, I would often go into the school and into the classrooms and just talk with the kids about RE stuff. One child asked me one day, "Father Craig, were there dinosaurs on Noah's Ark?" Isn't that a beautiful question? Were there dinosaurs on Noah's Ark? You can just hear the child saying it because they're inquisitive. There's a simple, not complex way of being as a child. And that's what the gospel is about. It's about humility, being open to the truth, as children are. Children are like sponges. They soak up all this information. They want to know everything, try everything, put everything in their mouth. All those sorts of things. They're like sponges. They are open to the truth. Unlike the gospel, the wise, the learned, the Pharisees, the scribes, the priests, they knew better. Pride stopped them from being open. And so Jesus reminds us to be like little children. Don't be proud and think you know better. Be humble, simple. Be open to questioning and experiencing the truth. And then later in the gospel, he goes on to talk about, my yoke is easy, my burden is light. He uses an analogy, and often Jesus does this, uses a concrete analogy for his listeners. You can just imagine out in the field, there's some oxen, the farmer's there walking along behind, trying to plow a straight line. And Jesus says, my yoke is easy, my burden is light. Come to me. Every yoke is different because every animal is different. Much like our shoes, there's a retail store, I won't do an advertisement for them, but a retail store that goes on and talking about the fitted shoe or the shoe that fits. And you hop on a treadmill and either you walk or you run and they decide or they tell you which shoe is best fitted for you. This is exactly the same with the yoke that would go across the animal's back. It was unique to that particular animal. Every animal was different, just like all our feet are different. And so Jesus wants us to acknowledge that the yoke that we bear, he wants to take from us. He wants to lighten our yoke, ease our burden. The other thing that the yoke does is it helps direct the animal so that the animal will walk in a straight line and hoe a line that's straight and not sort of all over the show, so that when they're ploughing the fields and when they're planting the fields, they get these nice rows. So this yoke that Jesus speaks of, he speaks of it in a way that is a reminder to us that he wishes to steer us in the right path. And he knows that the yoke is different for everybody. And he wants to take that yoke, that burden that is ours, to take it off us, to make easy our life. As we reflect on the gospel today, let's be reminded that we are called to be simple and humble of heart, so that we'll be open to the gospel. As adults, we lose something, I think, as we grow older, something of the innocence of children, the questioning of children, the curiosity that children have. I don't know why it is, but as we grow older, we get a bit more cynical, maybe, I don't know. But we lose something of the beauty of childhood. Jesus reminds us it's not about being smart. That's not what's going to necessarily bring you to Christ or the knowledge of Christ. It's being open to, like a child, open to doing things differently, open to allowing Christ into our lives humbly and not being proud, thinking we know better, like the Pharisees and the priests of the time did.